So Emma Vigilant had this tweet up that where she was kind of mocking people for not voting for Biden. Basically, she said, remember the theory that Trump winning in 2016 would galvanize the left behind a progressive nominee that would bring the Democratic Party to its knees in 2020, and thus Trump winning was better for progressives than HRC winning. It was stupid then. Now it's definitely stupid. So I want to hear what you think about that, but first I'm just going to read what I said, because I think it's hypocritical and it's dangerous to ignore the truth of what actually happened, because remember the theory that Hillary would beat Trump, which she didn't. We kept telling people she wouldn't, that voting the lesser of evils would help progressives and bring the Dem Party to its knees in 2020. Didn't happen. Remember when election fraud was thrown out as a conspiracy? That happened. But Russia, that also happened, and it's back now. It was stupid then. Now it's definitely stupid. My whole point in saying that is she's ignoring election fraud completely. She's saying, like, look, if we would have just voted for Hillary and Hillary would have won, everything would be better. Right. And you know, and that would have been the better thing, and we would have been able to have Bernie Sanders. Are you that daft to think that we would have Bernie Sanders if Hillary were president anyway? We wouldn't have Bernie Sanders in either scenario, because it's not about getting people to vote out there. People did go out and vote both times. Their votes weren't counted. Again, if you're not going to address the core issue of the problem, then you're just regurgitating bullshit that isn't really addressing the situation we need to address. And that is an entire election revamping. We need ranked choice voting. We need a completely clear and transparent and fair elections, completely open source machines. We need to have an oversight board that looks at these elections. We need to have the public be able to look at these elections. That's not what's happening. So when you completely ignore that and you pretend that, okay, well, if we just vote for Biden, then, you know, everything's going to be better and we're going to be able to fight harder, when literally Biden is still taking the money, for the same money that Hillary was taking, is controlled by the same powers in the military and the CIA that Hillary was controlled by, that even Trump is controlled by. What are you talking about? This is it's the whole system that's the problem. So to start shaming people as it being stupid that you're not going to vote for more of the same bullshit that got you here in the first place, I think it is dangerous, because it's coming from supposed progressives, right? TYT is the home of the progressives. They're supposed to be the progressive leaders. They're supposed to be the ones that are really fighting the establishment. And here they are with their neoliberal talking points that are completely ignoring how the Democratic Party manipulated and rigged these elections both times, how now they want to make Joe Biden the president because it was easier, made Kamala VP, who is likely to be president. I mean, let's look at Joe Biden and how he is, and who knows how long he's going to last. And they wanted Kamala from the start, but she was so awful, and she got knocked out by Tulsi so early on that they had to go with somebody else. But they're going to force it upon us by making the top cop prosecutor, Kamala Harris, the potential president, at a time when we're fighting police brutality in the streets. And they're gonna make it out to be like this, oh, well, she's black, and they are co-opting this entire thing. And it's people, when people parrot this, when people that are supposed to be progressive, that a lot of people don't see it. They're like, oh, well, Emma's a good reporter. She's progressive. She's not Rachel Maddow. So, I mean, what she must say, it must be true. It's more dangerous to me, in my opinion, than a neoliberal. The whole thing is, again, it's the same as a Republican. I can see who a Republican is. I can see who a neoliberal is now. But these fake progressives that are just co-opting everything to get you back into the Democratic Party, to sheep herd you back into this binary thinking, two-party system, and entirely dismiss the real problem, which is election fraud and the corruption in our fucking government. That is, to me, the most dangerous thing, because not a lot of people see it.
Yeah, I mean, this tweet is completely ridiculous. I mean, it's completely ridiculous. Yeah, it completely throws away the fact that Bernie should have won both of these freaking primaries, right?
Yep.
And they completely stole it. They didn't talk about election fraud. They weren't there that night where I was on March 3rd on Super Tuesday.
Zero
and
coverage
the fucking,
of election
in the
fraud.
LA County where they count the fucking votes. And I saw them behind a fucking like 6-inch glass wall in these machines that were 2-in-1. And I saw that they were hooked up to another computer with Ethernet cable and a USB. And then now I'm following Raji Rab's case, and we're seeing that he got documents through Discovery that shows the whole fucking process of these machines and that they are 2-in-1 and they ran it. He got a statement from the election officials that night that they ran it 10 days prior to the election night, ran vote by mail ballots. And since the machine, which are new, these machines, these super expensive machines that are new by IBML Smart Tech machines, ran it and they're 2-in-1, you get access to the vote count immediately. And we're just going to trust that Dean Logan and his little fucking corrupt motherfuckers didn't do anything and didn't look at it. They have access to the passcode. We saw the list of people that have access, the network administrator, all these people that have access, and there's no oversight. There needs to be a public oversight committee. That's what Raji is demanding. And guess what? TYT is not doing that fucking work, and I don't see them down at these protests. So who's really the home of the progressives? Not TYT.
Exactly. And so, again, they have been entirely they're pretty much MSNBC for progressives. And I say that lightly because I don't consider them progressive. So Cenk Uygur, a good old Cenk, instead of actually, like I said, instead of talking about the things that are important, he's shaming people who aren't voting for Biden. In this tweet in September, he said, "Why are people so dense? I'm mad at them because they can't win elections when I want them to win. So yes, vote for the non-fascist, and meanwhile, encourage him to fight harder against the fascist." Why is that at all hard to understand? Because they're both fucking fascists, Cenk. You're like, why is voting for a fascist that has a freaking rainbow on his head better than voting for the other fascist that's just a flat out fascist? Like, one is lying to you, but he's really a fascist. It's called crypto-fascism. The other one is a flat-out fascist. Why are you going to attack people for not wanting to take either poison instead of telling people, hey, you know what? Yeah, vote for whoever you want, but let's look at really what's the problem. Our election system, the corruption in politics. Let's look at how none of our votes are counting. Let's look at how corrupt the California Democrats are. Democrats in California are proof that having a Democratic supermajority and a democratically controlled state, which is the 5th largest economy, we could literally be a country on our own, doesn't guarantee that things are going to be any fucking better. Because guess what? We have all the Democrats. We have the worst Democrats. They're so god awful that the state is on fire. The state has a giant homeless population, housing crisis, eviction crisis. People aren't getting the help they need. Half of the businesses are closing down. It is bad. Bad. But yet you have the audacity to pretend that voting for Joe Biden is going to fix every underlying rotting shit that has been ongoing for the past 100 years that we haven't even fixed. So again, instead of talking and doing the real work, they're literally gaslighting people into voting for Joe Biden, into fundraising for Joe Biden, into sheep herding back into the Democratic Party. And it's disgusting. And anybody that says, TYT is great and progressive, I'm like, no, flat out no. They're freaking gaslighters and they're lying and they're MSNBC light as of yet.
And they took on the whole Russia thing, which is why Jimmy left, I think he said in a live stream. So, you know what I'm saying?
And I'm not calling them out just because, I hate them or whatever.
No,
this is like somebody I used to watch, and it's disgusting to see where media falls. This is why. And again, they haven't said a goddamn word about Julian Assange. You have to know, write down who's talking about Julian Assange, because the people that aren't talking about Julian Assange, they're not here for you. They're not here for the people, because journalism is informing people. Everything else is public relations. Journalism is talking about the things that the government and others don't want you to talk about. Everything else is public relations, because I studied public relations as well, and it's literally a bunch of bullshit. It is how to trick people into thinking one way, into buying something, into perceiving something. That's what the media, mainstream media is doing, and that's what they've been doing for a really long time. And the People for Bernie are another organization that I've been suspect of for a while. They were, during the whole campaign, they were completely ignoring all the things that were wrong with the campaign. They were just being Bernie cheerleaders.
Weren't they like pro-Warren?
They were pro-Warren. there are questionable people, and I have to get a few things from my sources, but there are questionable people heading the People for Bernie that have ties to very like pro just very corrupt organizations, and I'll bring that back up when the time comes. But I want to read, they deleted this tweet because it was really bad, but Sarcasm Stardust, Comrade Misty is Putin's baby, or buddy, sorry. That might be a good name too. And she said, look at this pile of horseshit. And it was the People for Bernie saying, if you're choosing not to vote out a fascist, maybe you aren't anti-fascist. Again, pushing that whole vote for Biden thing. It's already enough. Bernie Sanders is already doing it. I don't need you guys to also do it. And then they got so ratioed that they deleted the whole thing. But as I said, the damage is there. This
because
woman,
our voice is strong, fam. Our voice is strong. We got to call it out. We call it out like it is. We call it out like it's real. That's why. Thank you, Fred Edward. When Cenk did a tweet, you saying, I'm seeing it right now. You called them out and recommended us as real independent news. Thank you. We also have another super chat from Glory. Says, I tell Cenk to come to LASD to see how fascism is done in a blue state, but you probably couldn't handle it. I'm going back tonight. And I'm going earlier, and we're going to see what happens because we're about to cover that. That's the next topic. What else is on this, fam?
I just want to read this by Aaron Matei and this video by Kamala because this has to do with the whole bullshit that Biden and Harris are somehow going to save the day when they're once again pushing Russiagate and Russiagate interference. And Aaron said, Kamala Harris says Russian interference could cost the Biden campaign the election. If Russia has anything to do with costing Democrats the 2020 election, it will be because they spent 4 years spewing unhinged Russiagate paranoia to excuse losing the 2016 election. Again, Democrats want to talk about election rigging by a foreign country, but the moment you start talking about them doing it, oh, no. Like, no, it's a conspiracy. It's a conspiracy. This is why nobody covers it, because they don't want to be branded as conspiracy theorists. This is why nobody touches it, because of the stigma associated with election fraud, election rigging, saying the word it's rigged. Fuck that. We have to normalize it. We have to normalize it, because if we don't talk about it, it's going to remain this taboo topic that people aren't talking about, that is only relegated for foreign entities or Republicans only, when we know very well that Democrats do it, especially during the primaries. So let's hear what Kamala said, because it's only 11 seconds.
Does she sound crazy? Does she sound delusional? Let's see.
As usual.
And I do believe that there will be foreign interference in the 2020 election, and that Russia will be at the front of the line.
Could it cost you the White House?
Theoretically, of course. Yes. And I do believe that there will be...
I saw a video the other day on Instagram, and I think it was Kamala on Breakfast Club, and I think it's a recent interview.
Yeah.
And like she was talking about how she believes that Russia is the whole troll farm and everything. And it was like they were looking at her like, so you really believe like Russia like did all this? And it's like,
I think people are
ridiculous.
starting to get
like,
it.
Yeah, people. I think more and more people are starting to see that it's bullshit. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And I'm really scared. I'm really scared of this election, because I'm saying it right now. I'm calling it out. It's gonna be a contested election.
Yeah.
And
I agree.
with everything going on right now, it looks like civil wars. I don't know. The streets are looking rough right now. The streets are looking rough. California's burning down. Hurricane just hit Louisiana. I don't know what's gonna happen, fam.
Yeah.
Trump might do a fascist takeover. That's a possibility. He's emboldening white supremacists, and
I don't think Trump wants to be president though.
Maybe now, I don't know. Maybe he's been pissed off enough that he will. Like, I feel like he's dumb enough to be like that. I don't know.
I think this is a whole charade. I mean, I think the Democrats don't want to win. I think Trump's gonna win. I think it's gonna be contested. I think they're gonna say he cheated, that it's rigged, that Russia did it, as they've already been paving that way. I think Kamala is gonna be the one that's, if by chance the Democrats win, she's gonna be the president. I think they're both gonna try to cheat, and it's a shit show.
They're both cheating, both
who
Democrats
cheats,
and Republicans cheating. Trump's cheating in different ways. He did Cambridge Analytica.
Yeah.
It was really just.
I still think Trump has a lot more support than the Democratic Party.
His support is stronger.
Yeah.
Because Joe Biden doesn't inspire anybody.
Well, yeah, at least Trump inspires people,
He
obviously
inspires
in
his
a negative way.
base, right?
But he inspires people, like I said, like we said last week on the show. They're talking to their base. They're doing what their base wants them to do. Whereas Democrats are talking to literally their lobbyists, and that's it. They're completely ignoring what the vast majority of Democrats want, because Democratic people who are part of the Democratic Party, you know, as obnoxious and neoliberal as it might be, are okay with Medicare for all. They're okay with, you know, like a Green New Deal and things like that. They're okay with that. It's the Democratic establishment that isn't listening to them. So they're losing a lot of that. And Biden doesn't seem like somebody strong enough to lead. And a lot of people go with that gut instinct, like, I don't like Trump, but at least, you know, he's strong and he's going to show whatever, you know. That's at the basic instinct, that's what people sometimes look at.